a figure of speech to say this person's mind has not been trained up such that they can effectively participate in life, effectively have meaningful conversations in this life, because they have left their mind to remain dormant. So it is the same with our spirit man. For many of us, because to get a job, you don't really need your spirit according to our thinking. You just need your mind. You take your mind to school, you get the qualification, you get the job. For many of us, according to our thinking, you don't really need your spirit to get a spouse. You just need to go and approach a person, use human wisdom and human relations, and you get a spouse. And so it goes for every other thing in this life. So what happens to many Christians, their spirit lies dormant. It sleeps like when Jesus was sleeping in the boat and there were storms around. The only difference between ourselves and Jesus, only Jesus can afford to sleep when there's a storm. With you and me, that's when we wake up from our sleep. So it shows you there's a different type of sleep, where your sleep is that which is totally unfruitful, and the sleep of Jesus, which is a commanding of situations. So for many of us, our spirit are dormant. They are just inactive because they are not being used. The Bible says men shall not live by bread alone, which is what 90% of our life is based on. Let's get this bread. Let's do relationships. Let's get whatever. Let's prosper. 90% of our life is on the outward. And so nobody thinks, I need to get my spirit to be active. In fact, for many of us, the only time your spirit was once active was when we were praying for a serious matter. You went into fasting and whatever. That was the only time your spirit was active. And after that, it went into sleep, which is not what God had in mind. What God had in mind was, in the same way that we live our life today, where daily our minds are actively doing life, actively learning, actively engaging with other human beings. That's what God wanted with our spirit, that our spirit was daily in touch with Him. And from our spirit, life will flow into our natural mind. That's when we talk about inspiration, where somebody says, I received an inspiration in my spirit to do this business. I received my inspiration to follow this course. That's what God had in mind, that the way we're going to live was not from our natural mind, but from our spirit. Why our spirit? Because God would speak there, and from that translate into our natural mind, and therefore translate into our physical activities. That when you looked at a life of a Christian, their activity, the source of that activity is spiritual inspiration from God. And so for that